don't trust Trump. Those are the words from Kamala Harris, sending that message moments ago to voters who say in poll after poll that they believe that Trump would be better in the economy than she would be.
Top economists in our country, from Nobel laureates to people at Moody's and Goldman Sachs, have compared my plan with his and said my plan would grow the economy, his would shrink the economy. Some of them have actually assessed that his plan would increase inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. So the facts remain that Donald Trump has a history of taking care of very rich people. My perspective on the economy is when you grow the middle class, America's economy is stronger. And there's empirical evidence to prove my point correct.
All right, everyone's back with me. So, Meghan, now we're here together. So, obviously, the economy's been one of the strongest areas for Trump, immigration and the economy. But the question is, does it make sense for her? I mean, is this the way to address it? And I mean, she's talking in big terms and obviously more specific ones as well, but talking about, inflation and a recession. Is that going to convince people?
Look, I think she should be doing more local medias and hitting people in their areas and where they are watching at their nightly news, when they're cooking dinner for their families, on issues that are going to impact them directly in their homes and in their regions.
So very specific to a local market, specific plant, specific thing.
And talking about what is impacting them. The things that are impacting Wisconsin are probably different than what's impacting North Carolina. Gas prices are coming down, grocery prices are coming down across the country. But people in Wisconsin and North Carolina and these battleground states might not be feeling that. And so I do think doing more of a local media strategy is probably better than we're not all sitting here talking about the one interview that she's done in the past couple of weeks. We would be talking about interviews that she's doing every single day out on the trail, which I do think would reach voters more. And I do think it would help her on the economy.
And perhaps be more personal. I mean, Scott, here is more of what Harris is trying to lean into in this national interview. And I would talk more about the fact that it's national in a moment. But first, here's what she's saying.
We have ambition. We have aspirations. We have dreams. We can see what's possible. We have an incredible work ethic. But not everyone has the access to the opportunities that allow them to achieve those things. But we don't lack for those things. But not everyone, gets handed stuff on a silver platter. And so my vision for the economy, I call it an opportunity economy, is about making sure that all Americans, wherever they start, wherever they are, have the ability to actually achieve those dreams and those ambitions.
In that specific moment, Scott, she doesn't, of course, tie silver platter specifically and explicitly to Trump, but it's a phrase she's used to attack him after the debate. It's clearly the implication she's trying to make. Does that breakthrough, does talk like this have some people say, okay, maybe I should reconsider, who are in that group that trust him on the economy more?
Yeah, I'm still confused about which billionaire rich people are good and which are bad. Trump is, I guess, bad. The people who support Trump are bad. The billionaires that she goes around with, I guess, are good. I think it's a very muddled thing, and I still don't understand. I think today was a miss for Harris. I mean, Joe Biden went on The View today and said he delegated all sorts of authority to her on domestic policy. We know that the Biden administration is not popular on domestic and economic policy. She gave a speech today saying we've got to move past the policies that people think have failed. Well, people think the last 4 years are a failure. And from what I can tell from this interview tonight, which was really a home game, I mean, going on with this particular interviewer was like effectively interviewing with her campaign's press secretary. She had nothing new to say on the economy beyond this ridiculous pablum. You want to talk about aspirations and dreams? They're crushed in this country because of inflation. And these kinds of interviews and the day that she had today are not going to solve it.
So, Jane, can I just ask you about where this happened, right? To Meghan's point, which is she could be doing local news. She has done some local interviews, right? But she did the joint interview with Tim Moore.
Local news.
Right. She did a CNN interview, but nationally since then she hasn't. And now she's doing MSNBC, which is friendly turf, right? I'm not going to be pejorative about it. It's MSNBC. That's their brand. Is that the audience she needs to be talking to, Jane? I mean, it would appear to me that that core base of that audience is already voting for her. So if she's trying to win people over, what is she doing?
I think that, she's doing a ton of earned media and she's doing a ton of interviews. She did local Pennsylvania news just a couple of weeks ago. But look, Trump goes on Fox News and they tell him how great he is, and he says how much he likes Fox News. Like, that's been going on for 9 years now. So I think that it's important to do big national media. I want her to be doing media every single day, but I get her emails from my inbox. She is doing national media. She's doing local media. She's talking to people. She's going on podcasts. She's doing conversations. She's having town halls. I think that there's a town hall in a couple of weeks with Telemundo. Like, I think that the work that she's been doing, I mean, it's one of the hardest things about being in media is that I'm aware that I will say, I want you to do more media. And then I will be she will do more media, and then she will get criticized for doing more media. But I think it's just so important to remember that we are not the audience here. The audience are the actual undecided voters who haven't really thought about this election very much, and they have their own concerns.
Okay.
And so I think it's really important to just keep doing it.
I am curious, though, to that point, and I think highly of the interviewer herself, but to that point, Meghan, why do MSNBC? Because the viewers of MSNBC, they're not the undecided voter, right? And her base is already very energized and turning out for her. I mean, I know you can't ever give up on that if you're a candidate, but where should she be going to reach out to undecided, unaffiliated voters?
Well, we're all talking about it. So whether she does MSNBC or CNN, we're all sitting here talking about it. So it's still getting covered.
Fair.
So it still is getting in broad strokes. She's still getting a lot of coverage from any interview that she does. She could go to Bloomberg. She could go to CNBC to do an econ interview. But I do think
I'd love to have her right here to do an econ interview.
But I do think Stephanie Ruhle does have a reputation for being a person who's very knowledgeable on the economy, and it is a good interview person for her to do, and it is getting covered. So I do think it's a smart thing to do. I also agree that she should be doing more podcasts and more, social media things with influencers and meeting people where they are. A lot of youth voters are on TikTok, and that's where they get their news. So yes, she should be meeting those people where they are as well. But I don't think it really matters what network she's on, because we're all covering it.
All right. So Scott, I want to ask you about something President Trump said today. And this was just an interesting point. He has been saying that different groups of people, he's been very specific about who they are, that if they vote for him, they should have their head examined. And those are the words he's been using repeatedly in ways that could be very offensive to these individual groups, but nonetheless, this is what he's saying. So here's what he's saying about senior voters.
If any senior doesn't vote for Trump, we're going to have to send you to a psychiatrist to have your head examined.
Any Jewish person that votes for her, especially now, her or the Democrat Party, should have their head examined.
If they love Israel, anybody that votes for a Democrat or Kamala especially, because this is the worst ever, you should have your head examined.
And then on Monday, Scott, I just didn't want to leave a group out. He's talking about the Catholics. And he said any Catholic that votes for Comrade Kamala Harris should have their head examined. All right, Scott, laughing aside, you've got seniors, Jewish people, people who love Israel, and Catholics should all have their head examined if they're not voting for Trump. How does talking to people like that help Trump?
Well, quite a few people will vote for Harris, so I think we should all open up a head examination doctor's office. We'll have plenty of people to
in all those
look
categories.
A
lot of people are going to vote for Harris.
It's a joke. He's literally, it's a turn of phrase. It's a funny aside. It's a joke. These are not meant to be offensive statements, and I think people who are trying to spin it that way are being willfully dishonest. It's a joke. He's saying, I'm so much better than her that how could you possibly make a different decision? It is the same kind of statement that politicians make in every election. My opponent's terrible. I'm better. How could you possibly make this decision? It is a joke.
And Jane, will people take it as such? Is this one of those things where people actually get the joke, and people who take it seriously are the ones missing the moment?
No, absolutely not. Like, at what point has this particular campaign ever implied that it is a fun, jovial effort? This campaign has been largely based on the idea that if you do not support Trump, you are a stupid idiot who hates Israel, who hates America, and who should obviously seek psychiatric care. Like, I think that I'm aware that many people find Donald Trump funny, but in this particular effort, with what he's saying, the idea is not, ha ha ha, how stupid could you be to vote for others? But no, it's very serious. Like, it's not, I am so much better. It's, you are so stupid. How could you possibly favor this other candidate? And it's been so interesting because again and again and again, Donald Trump gets the benefit of the doubt for absolutely no reason. I was just reading a piece, you mentioned the economy, talking about tariffs earlier. I was just reading a piece in a conservative outlet that essentially said, oh no, he won't do tariffs, just like he didn't build a wall. So it's just things he says. And so people are supposed to vote for him for doing things that he doesn't talk about, but don't vote for him because of things that he does talk about that he won't do. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
And then you got to get a whole new thing about why heads should be examined. So thank you for that,
Exactly.
Jane, Meghan and Scott. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.